Marcus Leshock. How are you doing?
Who's this?
Who's this?
Oh my gosh.
Is this that Coaster Geek again? With that YouTube channel?
It's two Coaster Geeks, actually.
That might be us. Hey, Coaster Geek, you're speaking of yourself.
I know. That is true. You're in good company.
So, Marcus, for those of you who do not know, I'd love if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so if you're outside of Chicago, I am a reporter, anchor on the WGN TV morning news in Chicago. So we are on the air every day, 4 to 10 a.m. doing the news. And I have a segment on the news called Coasting the Country, where I travel around and visit theme parks and ride roller coasters. I'm a big coaster enthusiast. Been into coasters since I was pretty much since I can remember, and kind of turned it into like a small part of my job where I get to go ride things and do TV segments and put them on TV.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we've seen you travel to theme parks before where like you're working, which is so cool because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, how do you get to do like theme parks for a job? And it's like you found a way to do it.
Yeah, and that actually leads us into one of the questions that someone attached to a donation, which thank you so much. Again, it all goes to Give Kids the World, an incredible cause. But they want to know, how do you convince your news stations to do all the stories about roller coasters?
Yeah, that's a good one. This is what I tell people. It's like it's a very small part of what I do. And when I do, travel, I travel very cheap, so it doesn't cost them a lot of money. So I'm really mindful of that, but, no, it really started with, of course, we have Six Flags Great America here in Chicagoland at Gurnee, north part of Chicago. So whenever a ride opens there, I'm always doing stories there right in our backyard. But it really just started when, Silver Dollar City launched Outlaw Run. And that was something I went to my boss. I'm like, this roller coaster's opening. It's a wooden coaster, and, it's going to go upside down a bunch of times. And he was like, what? Like, how's that possible? I'm like, exactly. Like, it just sounds really different and unique, and nobody else is going to have a story like this in Chicago. I'll drive down there and just check it out, do some blogging along the way on the website. And, he was cool enough to say, yeah, let's just try it and see how it goes. And the segment was a big hit, got a lot of views and a lot of traffic. And so since then, they were like, yeah, do it. We really like the segment, and just keep it going. So we've kept it going, kind of branded it, and the rest of the team on the morning show makes fun of me for it.
I'm sure.
For being a coaster geek, and it becomes like a bit on the show. And, it's great for me because I legit love coasters, right? So I'll go anywhere, anytime to do any kind of story on anything, and any kind of theme park story, but it's been fun.
That's great. And this is a sort of similar question. This is from Dan Clark. He wants to know, what is it like pitching a roller coaster story to WGN?
Like, what's the process there?
Well, at this point, it's like they know, at this point, it's very like, hey, I really want to go to this place and this or that. They kind of know. At the beginning, it was really trying to have to sell it and explain it. So if I was heading out of town, I was like, all right, here's what this is going to be, especially when it's easier. Like a lot of these parks now, you can be live on the ride on television. So the first real experience I had with that was when I went to Cedar Point and rode Valraven live on the air, and the anchors could actually talk to me. And that like blew their mind, like telling them like, no, I can be on the ride talking to you while I'm riding it. And that was like an easy, after I did that, like anytime I say I can be live on a ride somewhere, they're pretty much, yeah, let's do it because it's so unique and fun. And I guess this is the other thing, like I always set out from the beginning was when I'm going to do these stories on TV, the one thing that always annoyed me as an enthusiast when I would watch reporters on TV do these segments on roller coasters, it was usually every segment was the same. It was a reporter walking up to the ride. I'm so scared. I don't know, am I going to be able to do it or not? Am I going to be able to get through it? And they scream the whole time and close their eyes and they go, oh my gosh, I did it. And I didn't really learn anything about the ride or anything. So I said, you know what, I'm going to be different. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to narrate my experience on the ride. I'm going to tell you what you're seeing as I'm riding it. And so I think that made it a little bit different, and they liked that angle of it. It felt like you were actually getting information about the history of the ride and what the ride's doing as opposed to just some person screaming the whole time,
I think that's perfect, and I know that as enthusiasts, we absolutely love that. This is a question from a donation from someone you might have heard of him. His name's Scott
Schaffer?
Scott Schaefer. Oh yeah, he wants to know.
Or I'm hanging up.
He wants to know. One has to go: Whizzer or Velocicoaster. Which do you remove?
See, that's not fair. That is not fair.
You gotta answer it. It's for the kids.
You can't do that.
It's
for the
kids,
kids, Marcus.
Who would make that? Who would ever be like? Who would do that?
A deranged individual.
If I had to, absolutely, it would be Velocicoaster would have to go.
You would remove Velocicoaster over Whizzer.
Velocicoaster is probably my number one ride, but Whizzer's so unique. I have a sense that somebody would build something like Velocicoaster again somewhere.
Okay.
Where nobody's ever gonna build another Whizzer. No park's gonna be like, hey, we're adding a Schwarzkopf style ride. From scratch. That's just not gonna happen. So it would have to be Velocicoaster, as much as it pains me to say that.
Wow.
Okay.
You really love Whizzer, dude.
That is that makes sense. And
Whizzer is amazing. It is an amazing attraction. And go to Great America any day, and you will see a 30-40 minute line for Whizzer.
We waited in it with
waiting
you.
the same amount for Velocicoaster that you're waiting for Whizzer every day because families love it. People of all ages love it. It's got thrills, but it's also re-rideable. It's a great initial ride for kids to go on. It's amazing. It's got everything you want. I love that ride.
Okay.
Stop making fun of me for it.
Hey, that's a good point. Honestly, I'll always commend you. You make great arguments.
You do.
And everything. You back up your answer, and that's what I love.
He's a good talker. That's why he's on the news.
You are. And I gotta ask. So the last time we saw you, Marcus, was at Six Flags Over Texas for the premiere of This Is How We Roll, and that was your first time to Six Flags Over Texas. Also, I'd love if you could just talk about that whole weekend because that was a pretty cool time.
Yeah, and that was the Lone Star Coaster-thon that they do there. It's my first time being at Six Flags Over Texas, and it was a really, really cool way to experience the park. They did it. I mean, you guys can say this. They did an awesome job with that event. I went to that, and I was like, I want to I want to make a point to come back to this as much as I can. But just from the ERT that they had there, there was so much time to ride everything. The weather was really good as well. But I was just really impressed with the park. I really, everything was there. How many times did we ride Mr. Freeze there? I mean, it had to be...
Oh, several times.
A lot.
Yeah, we rode that a lot. They just have a really good selection of coasters from, of course... the New Texas Giant, which was really one of the reasons I wanted to go down there in particular because, it's RMC history, right?
Yeah. Of course.
New Texas Giant, which that ride still holds up, even being the first Rocky Mountain ride, it is still, any park would die to have that in their park, I think. Yeah, it was a really neat experience. It was fun being down. If you haven't been to an Ace event,
they're the best.
It's totally worth doing.
Oh yeah.
And especially there, they really went all out to make it as good of a time as possible. I loved it.
I gotta ask. So you've done now a bunch of these stories. You've gotten to a bunch of really cool places. You've also met a lot of really cool people in the amusement industry through going to media days and stuff. Who are some of the people that made the biggest impression on you, and why?
In the theme park business?
Yeah. At least in the theme park business.
I mean, and you probably would say this too. To me, it's meeting somebody like Alan Schilke, meeting the people who sit down at a desk and get paid to dream up the things that we all love so much, right? Who have these creative minds to come up with these, where can we take the human body next on a roller coaster? And it's cool to have a job like this where you get some access to people like that, where you can actually sit down with them and have conversations with them and just pick their brain and get a sense of how they work and think and everything else. And Fred was really great to me as well with Rocky Mountain Construction, and that's a really neat... This is a great story. I mean, you guys did a great job in the movie explaining their story and how they kind of built their company.
Well, and thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah.
To, going to Walt Disney World and being able to talk to, Josh D'Amaro, the president of Walt Disney World.
That's pretty cool.
For a while. For the president of, Disney Parks, people who help run Disney World. It's, from, the tiny little places and seeing how they run to going to the biggest of the biggest and seeing how they do their thing and not deal with, but, interact with the customers and enthusiasts that come through their gates every day. It's just, that's the neat thing about a job like this. Even what you guys do, I mean, it's the same thing. It's just having, being able to sit down with people like that. It's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we have a question for, or someone that donated would ask that you plug your 100-day challenge.
Ooh.
Oh, yes. Wow, that's great. So my wife is a coach for a health and wellness program. So probably 3 years ago, we really changed our lives and got in shape. And, I lost about 25 pounds. She lost probably 50 or 60 pounds.
Wow.
So we're health is a big priority for us. And so we're doing this 100-day health challenge right now. And I encourage anybody to join in at any time. But it's just basically what we did was we sat down and was, what can we do, dedicate something to do every day for the next 100 days. So for me, it's, every single day I'm doing a 45-minute workout. I'm eating a certain way nutritionally, not eating some things that I might eat during the holiday season, reading 5 pages in a nonfiction book. So certain things every day I dedicate myself to do. So anybody wants to participate, and I'm kind of doing it on Facebook and everything else, but so sit down and say hey, I want to get healthier. What can I do every day? Cut out maybe something every day for 100 days and see where that takes you on your health journey. So yeah, that was a good question. Wow, I can't believe somebody asked that.
Yeah. No, I was unfamiliar that you were doing with that. That's really cool. And you mentioned the documentary there. We asked the same question to Jeffrey Siebert, but I got to ask, did you have any idea what you were getting yourself into when we asked if you could be a part of the documentary?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, I was very happy how it turned out. I thought you would use a lot less of me, to be honest, from what I thought. But I was like, wow, that was great. I watched it, didn't feel like I embarrassed myself too much. So
no, not even close.
I don't like watching myself. I like being the one asking the questions. I don't like answering the questions.
Oh, but right? You're so good at it.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Yeah, I don't really like it. But Jeff Siebert, I got a funny Jeff Siebert story. I'd never met him before, and this past summer I was at Universal with my family, and I was waiting in line at Rip Ride Rocket, about to get on the ride, and I get tapped on the shoulder, and this guy's like, hey, Marcus, how you doing? And I'm looking at him I kind of know this guy. I'm like, hey, do I know you? He's like, yeah, it's Jeff Siebert from Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. He was waiting in line to ride I'm like, wait, you're a president of a theme park. You're waiting in line behind me to ride this roller coaster? And my wife was like, is that guy really a president of a Six Flags park? I'm like, yeah, he just loves roller coasters.
Yeah.
And there he was with his family. I just love that when you meet people in the business that, you think everyone in management's just like a bean counter or something. And then you find out, no, he legit loves this stuff, and he's traveling all over the place riding rides. I just loved it.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. We mentioned that when we brought him on here just a little bit ago. Last time we saw him was at Mako. We were marathoning it, and he was doing the exact same thing, but on the other train. And so we didn't see each other until we were in the gift shop because we'd walked off because we just never crossed paths. But we were just staying on there, just marathoning it. So we love to see it. I think it's so cool when you get people that are that passionate about this industry who are the same people running it. I think that is so cool. I mean, it shows you look at what Fiesta Texas is doing versus, some other parks. It is so cool. They are setting the bar so high for everything. There's just constant investment in just making the park better. You can just see all the love that they're getting.
It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Marcus, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
You.
And
and I want to say thank you to you guys too for doing this, for raising money for a great cause. And anybody listening, these organizations, if maybe you don't have a lot of money, $1, $2, $3, $5, it all adds up, and it means something to these groups. So anything you can do to contribute to an organization like this really helps. So I think it's awesome you guys are doing this, and thanks for thinking of me.
No, absolutely, yeah. We're so thrilled that we were able to have you on here.
It's a no-brainer to have you on.
Yeah, you were one of the first people we thought of. We're we got to get Marcus on here.
Yep.
So thank you so much. Well, hey, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and
I'm sure we'll be harassing you again soon.
Oh yeah, we'll talk to you real soon.
All right, we'll see you soon, guys.
All right, thanks, Marcus. Bye.